Despite losing Aaron Donald, the Rams have allegedly aced the offseason. The Galaxy offense is struggling without one of its key components, and we have found a position group that the USC defense is actually elite in. Kudos. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. And so it is May 19, 2024. Welcome again to the Sanctum Sanctorum of LA Sports. It is also Sunday, the Lord's Day. If you believe as I do, take a moment, thank God for the blessings that you have in your life. Like, for example, we've added a new subscriber to the Angeleno Familia. Thank you for getting in on the ground floor. And if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Walker Buehler earned his first win in 22 months with 6 shutout innings, 7 strikeouts, and the Dodgers defeated Cincinnati 4-0. Considering there were concerns about Buehler's control, by the way, 0 walks, so definitely a plus. Freddie Freeman scored twice, drove in a run. Galaxy 0, Charlotte 0. That was not pleasant. That was not thrilling. We do have a rapid recap, by the way, on the Galaxy playlist. We'll talk more about the Galaxy's offensive issues in a moment. Las Vegas 89, Sparks 82. The Sparks opened the season 0-2, but at least, thank the Lord, ABC did not give us a fashion update on what the Sparks were wearing. The Sparks have started, Derek Ahamby scored 29 points to lead the Sparks. I watched the game. The key takeaways are that rookie center Cameron Brink gets into foul trouble way too often. She picked up 2 fouls in less than 2 minutes in the game. That, and they're sloppy with the ball. They turn over way too much. Washington, D.C. 4, Angel City FC 2. Sidney LaRue scores, but Angel City has lost 3 of its last 4 matches. Meanwhile, today, Cincinnati's at the Dodgers at 1. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is 4-1 with a 3.21 ERA. Hunter Green, 2-2 with a 3.27 ERA. But let's get to the news. Pro Football Focus, or PIF, graded the Rams offseason as an A-, despite the retirement of sure first ballot Hall of Famer Aaron Donald. The reviewer of the Rams offseason lauded them for a number of things. 3 impactful signings in free agency, for example. Defensive backs Darius Williams and Cameron Curl, along with guard Jonah Jackson. Now, this matters in a couple of ways because, one, you could say that the Rams had a weakness in the defensive backfield last season. Meanwhile, by adding Jackson at one guard, returning Kevin Dotson at the other guard, the Rams have over 1,000 pounds of muscle from guard to guard on the offensive line. Good luck trying to blitz up the middle on them. Finally, PFF believes the Rams have lauded 4 potential starters in the draft. Now, that's a little too optimistic. They, for example, included running back Blake Corum. He's not going to start over Kyron Williams. That's not happening. But Jared Verse and Braden Fisk are seen as making an immediate impact on the defensive line to blunt the loss of Donald. Just to remind you, though, the Rams' defensive line is going to be super young. Remember, they're joining Kobe Turner. Turner is entering his 2nd year. So, youth is allegedly the future. We'll find out if the 3 of them can combine to make up one Aaron Donald. Now, as we mentioned earlier, the Galaxy played a scoreless match last night. It is the 3rd time that the Galaxy have been shut out this season. A big part of the reason, though, is that they were down one of their designated players, winger Joseph Paintsil. Now, Alex Ruiz, who covers the team for the Galactic Tribune, reported after the match that Paintsil isn't necessarily close to returning to action either. That's going to be an issue. Manager Greg Vanney said it could be weeks before Paintsil's hamstring would be healthy enough to warrant a return. Vanny added that Paintsill may also need a break in general. The Galaxy schedule has been pretty compact. They played 3 matches in 8 days, and in one of them, Paintsill, you might recall, stormed off to the locker room instead of kicking back on the bench after he was subbed off. So maybe he does need a little bit of time away from the pitch. A week or so ago, we went into depth talking about the USC defense. How the coaching staff is top-notch finally, but the defensive line is extremely suspect. Would it be a consolation to at least say that the safeties are Big Ten ready? On3.com rates the Trojans' safeties as the 6th best unit in the nation, and that's despite losing Kalen Bullock to the NFL. We have presumed 2 transfer players as likely starters at safety. Kamari Ramsey at UCLA, because he has obvious familiarity with DeAnton Lynn's defensive scheme. And Akili Arnold, who made 151 tackles during his time with Oregon State. We haven't even mentioned the fact that Zion Branch is returning. And he, if he doesn't get a crack at starting safety, should definitely get a chance at nickel back. Remember, the Trojans will often utilize 5 defensive backs in their defensive alignment. It's going to be a 4-2-5. As for the future of the program, the Trojans are said to have the 2nd best recruiting class in the Big Ten, behind only Ohio State. USC has 12 commitments, including 4 that are ranked in the top 100 nationally. And as for the somewhat distant future, 5-star quarterback Julian Lewis, you might recall he's verbally committed to USC as part of the class of 2025, but he's still taking visits from other schools. He's the 2nd ranked quarterback in the class of 2025. Now, previously, he had already visited Georgia, and that makes sense because that's his home state. But then you look at the other 3 schools he's allegedly looking at: Auburn, Colorado, and Indiana? Indiana? Now, I'll be damned if I can tell you how that name came out. I mean, rookie quarterback for Denver, Michael Penix Jr. played for the Hoosiers. And once he realized where the hell he was, he transferred to a real football school. After that, if you're looking for famous Indiana quarterbacks, you're searching for famous Hoosier quarterbacks, your next stop is Trent Green. Trent Green, most famously known for getting injured so that Kurt Warner could lead the greatest show on turf and become a household name. That Trent Green. Indiana and quarterbacks. Kind of like matching a 5-star restaurant with a pap smear, I'm telling you. There is a method, although for the life of me I can't tell you what it is, to how the Dodgers bullpen functions. They're missing closer Evan Phillips, Joe Kelly, Ryan Brazier, Brusdar Graterol. But entering Saturday's game, the Dodgers bullpen led the NL with a 3.08 ERA. And then they added 3 shutout innings last night. This is coming despite shuffling randos back and forth between Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and LA. I mean, I like to consider myself an intelligent fellow. I have no idea how the hell this is working. Now, having said that, there may be stability coming. Brazier is said to be nearing a return, maybe about a week away. Starting pitcher Bobby Miller also threw a bullpen session on Saturday. His next step is a simulated game this week, then perhaps a rehab assignment in the minors. Clayton Kershaw also threw, but his return remains scheduled for after the All-Star break. We are constantly on the lookout for insight that you cannot easily find over here at Faithful Angelenos. We are also not above clowning really crappy journalism. Oh, we live for that here. The kind of journalism that makes you not care when there are mass layoffs in a newsroom. For example, Bill Plaschke describing the Sparks as gritty with a winning effort, even though the Sparks haven't won. You know, a winning effort presupposes you've won, right? Now, I don't say this to poke fun just at the Sparks. Please understand. I'm saying this because the LA Times has also published an article that offered no particular insight in the coaching search that we haven't already mentioned. The majority of this clearly speculative article is to push a narrative that player-turned-podcaster JJ Redick is a, quote, leading coaching candidate, unquote. Then 10 paragraphs into this article, the writer concedes, quote, the reality is, at this stage, no one can say for sure, unquote. Then why'd you call him a leading coaching candidate? Then the same writer, Dan Wojcicki, goes on to tell us if the Lakers want to pursue a third superstar, the best they can offer in a trade, 3 first-round picks, and maybe Austin Reeves. And again, this is stuff we have already been discussing here for weeks. We know this. So I want to take this moment to thank the LA Times for taking my subscription money to tell me absolutely nothing. Well done, you beacon of American journalism, you. Offensive lineman Bruno Fide, who started 13 games at left tackle for UCLA last season, is transferring to Duke. Now, it'll be curious to see how much of a loss Fide actually is, because in theory, you would want an experienced lineman at left tackle. But PFF has blamed him specifically for 5 sacks that the Bruins allowed last season. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example, about the Rams defense and if they are going to survive the loss of Aaron Donald. For that matter, what can the Galaxy do? Because scoring in soccer, it's a little bit difficult. You kind of need talent there. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We are talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.